Ora was mentioning that you guys talk to film schools a lot of the time, and that often those conversations can be pretty sobering for the students, and you're pretty direct about sort of the realities of managing the inertia between creative and the business side of things, and in terms of actually getting stuff made. And I found that really interesting because I went to York, and when I graduated, I realized I didn't have an education in the industry at all. There was a huge gap there. I thought I would just come out and make my first project.
Really?
You know? And it was like,
and you didn't?
No, I had to earn a living. You know? I didn't realize that equated. So, what's your approach to when you're talking to film students? Have you noticed that there's sort of a lack of a core understanding of?
I don't think we know enough about the curriculum to be able to evaluate that.
Yeah, well, I that's true. I mean, in terms of...
Or more so like, what's your approach to speaking to those film students?
I think we're just, I think Clark and I are pretty frank when we talk to people about, you know, there's no guarantees. It's all about doing the work, right? Like, I think more than anything, like we run into a situation at work, and we have over the years, where we've hired a lot of receptionists. We have a reputation for hiring a lot of receptionists.
I know a few of them.
Yeah, and our receptionists mostly want to be directors, right, or producers, and so, I mean, that's one way to break into the industry. We had one receptionist now who's moved right up the ranks and is, you know, one of the core pieces of our company. He's incredible.
Scripted drama and comedy. Yeah.
But it's also but he's the one guy that never expressed that he wanted to be a producer or director, right? So it's kind of entering on a realistic plane to say, you know, I'm not a person that thinks that you need to move up through the ranks necessarily. If you're really good at something, then pursue that and go do that. But I think when we talk to film schools, it's not just about shooting. It's not just about, you know, operating the boom, and it's not just about these little things. You have to have an understanding of the whole process so that you can respect it. I mean, I think we find ourselves in conversations sometimes with writers who don't want notes, right? So you might, so we talk with writers about the collaborative, consultative process that can make things better. What's a process that can make things better? So you don't go right alone in a room and think that you're going to come out with the best thing. You might want to show that to somebody and get notes and go make it better. It's, you know, we talk a lot about the team, you know, that we need to work together to strive for excellence, right? And that it takes every single person on a crew to do that. So it's just knowing what your part is, and I don't know. I know that we've talked before about sort of not railing against the man, right? That the man is your door opener. The man is your way in. Like, how are you going to work with a broadcaster if you don't like them? How are you going to understand what their needs and desires are if you don't care to learn? You know,
That's a really good point.
You know, it's that. It's sort of a maturity thing, just to say a lot of the young people we talk to are, you know, sort of anti-establishment. It's like the establishment is how you get your show made. And so how do you bring your voice forward in the best possible way while also, in the professional industry when you're working with a national broadcaster, while also making sure that their needs are served so that it's a win-win. Because if it's not a win-win, you'll have a one-hit wonder and you'll screw your relationship and you'll be on your way. So we do talk a lot about building relationships, and not relationships to get something for yourself, but relationships where you really care to understand the other person's needs so that you can deliver to them. So it's more, we talk more about relationship building than we do about breaking in, and more about being part of a greater whole than about just your own career and what you're going to do next, because those, you know, if it's true that it was a couple of PAs that got This Is Daniel Cook going, then those two PAs turned around and, depending on how they were treated, they crewed up, right? They hired their team around them, and you'll either be one of those or not, because it is about the relationship with everybody, right? So anyway, that's my soapbox. What do you think, Clark?
All that.